as well as why didn't my knife come with a rhino sheath?
Because you didn't take 5 seconds out of your life to go to the sheath section and click the little button that said add to cart. That's why.
Okay.
Hi guys, so we are in the Q&A section of the videos. I wanted a very specific area where we could throw some very common questions and comments um, that we can respond to. So when it's most appropriate for me to respond, obviously I'm going to, and then I have Craig here. Uh, Chris is going to be reading off the questions or the comments. There are three different sections that we have. One is Skallywag specific or Skallywag focused. One is directed towards me, and then there is one section that is mindset. We tried to pick the most common questions or comments and put them down. If there are questions or comments that you guys have and you want us to do a video on that, then obviously shoot that out to content@eliteu.com. And depending on how I feel, I'm not even sure if I'm going to do this at this point. Uh, my videographer wants me to do what is that called? Where I read all of the horrible things people write about me.
The hater comments?
Yeah, so a haters comment thing. There are plenty of them on some of these videos. So let's get into some of these questions. Let's start off with Skallywag. Chris.
All right, number one. Do they bundle the knife with the trainer anymore?
That's a Craig question.
No, so that was when we first released the blade, we needed to release it as a kit. So live blade, trainer, rhino sheath, and then an accessory sheath that we originally just developed as a cover for the live blade while you were training. So you weren't leaving a live blade laying around.
Right.
It became much more than that. So when we released the Damascus and the aluminum versions, we needed to break the kit apart because not everybody wanted to be forced to buy another rhino sheath and another trainer with each live blade. And this was from customer comments. So no, we broke it down because when we first released the knife as the kit, we got a lot of hate mail, even probably a few death threats, that they were mad at us that we were making them buy things they didn't understand or didn't want. They didn't want a trainer. They just wanted to own the knife. So that's why all of the components now are separate items on the website, and you can build the kit how you suit with whichever live blade you choose.
Okay, so that kind of answers the second part to that question, why not, as well as why didn't my knife come with a rhino sheath?
Because you didn't take 5 seconds out of your life to go to the sheath section and click the little button that said add to cart. That's why.
So why did the price drop from $225 to $80 for the MDV?
That's a great question. So originally we offered the knife as a kit, which would have been the live blade, which was the D2 live blade, the aluminum trainer, the rhino sheath, and the backup sheath, which was, like I said, originally designed as a cover. When we first release a knife, we have more cost in it. Like I mentioned before earlier in this video, we generally have about $100,000 in the development of a knife. This one happened to be more, and we had more time in it. So we have to recoup some of those development costs. Through the course of time, after we've sold enough of them, we reduce the cost because we've paid back our development costs, so we don't continue to pass that price on. Right. In this particular case, when we broke the kit apart, we broke all the components out and put the individual price on each one. That's why the live blade with its basic cover sheath is now $80. So we get a lot of questions. Sometimes people will get grumpy. This will be like, well, I thought I was buying the kit. Well, you paid $80, not $225. So it's just a matter of basically going on the website, taking your time, thinking about what you're buying. And if you want the live blade with just the cover, just buy that. If you want the live blade with the trainer and the rhino sheath and an extra sheath and a t-shirt and a pocket full of yum yums to go with you, then you add those to your cart and then you just go to fulfillment.
And that's in the description, right?
Everything's in the description. Yeah, that's one thing I could definitely say that would help a lot of people out based on a lot of the email we get is slow down and take a look at what you're doing. I mean, we're not nuts.com, so it's not just like, oh, I want some cashews and some peanuts and some honey roasted these and that's. We're selling tools that could potentially save your life. So read the description under each product, because we do spend a lot of time putting those descriptions in place and making them really relevant to what it is that we're selling, so that you understand what you're buying, so we're in full compliance of everything that you should know in order to buy that knife. So oftentimes the descriptions are no more than 2 sentences. We promise we're not trying to waste your time. So just read the description, and then it'll clearly say, this is the live blade. It comes with a cover sheath. It does not come with the rhino sheath or the trainer. Those are available as separate items. And then just go to the menu. It's kind of common sense, but in the sheath tab, you'll find the sheaths and the ranger bands and the monkey tape. And then if you want training tools, look under the training tools section, and you'll find the MDV Trainer in there.
Right. Now, all the inventory and that type of stuff gets updated as things
Absolutely.
are purchased. So as long as you can order it, then that means that it's in stock. And all this other
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
And none of these explanations go against, we definitely appreciate all of our drunk buys. So,
Oh, absolutely.
like-
And there's a tremendous amount of drunk buys. Like, there really is. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times I wake up to orders that were placed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it's like I get the weird random email at 10 a.m. right before we process the order of can I get a refund? And it's like, yeah, you bought that when you were drunk. The old lady was really pissed off that you spent $80 and she needed some new caterpillars mounted on her eyelids or something.
Right.
And
Well, I mean, I want to comment. The thing is that first gen of anything is always going to be more expensive,
Yes,
right?
always.
Because of what you talked about.
the way we do
You know,
business, a lot of companies don't back those prices out. So the Guardians first started out at almost $400.
Right.
And that's because we were at a time where I needed to make that money back.
Right.
Because I had $100,000 out of my personal account in that knife.
Mhm.
$138,000 was the actual money that was missing from my personal savings account to develop that knife back at the time. And I needed that money back. So we had to develop the price based on getting a return on that investment. And then when we got paid back for it, then I lowered the price. Some companies don't do that. It's just how we do
What
operate.
you're saying is I'm expensive.
You're expensive. You cost a lot of money to develop knives.
High maintenance.
Yeah. Like just a basic,
Pedicures and
Tanto
shit like
costs
that, yeah.
about $60,000 to bring to bear. You cost an additional $40,000 to bring a knife to bear. But there's a lot more thought that put into it. Right?
But that's always been funny as far as how you lower the price, right? That's a complaint, and that's always been one of my.
I've never understood that. Nope.
It's like that's weird because the majority of companies will keep it at that price, and that's what you're expecting. And then what happens is oh, you lowered the price, you're screwing us over, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, he's making less money. He could double
Yeah.
how much he made if he didn't give that back to you. Yet you're going to complain because you bought the first generation. And it's not like we're very appreciative of first generation. If you don't buy out the first gen, then we can't lower the price down the line.
Right.
But that is you being who you are and going, look, I want to give back to my customer base. And that's a good thing. That's not us trying to do some shady shit. Right? So-
No, it's really interesting because people did get grumpy with us. And then we, of course, get the people that are like, oh, well, that's, that piece of shit. I could grind that out in my garage for $80. My answer to that is usually, I'll take 5,000 of them. Like, if you can make them cheaper, carry on with that. And of course, they can, right?
That's great.
Because to make 5,000 of anything, even toothpicks, takes a factory.
Yeah.
With people.
Well, that was a funny thing about the Guardian. We went to so many people
Oh my
that
God.
refused to do it because it was like, we can't make that
really
blade.
complicated knife to make.
It's just like
Really difficult knife to manufacture. Yeah. We ended up having to
aerospace freaking.
individually make those on a 5-axis CNC machine, which in production manufacturing, you never want to make one at a time. Like, that's just, you're just doubling your cost.
Yeah.
When we do MDVs, we probably make 12 of these at a time.
Yeah, so whoever has those original military versions, those things are.
Those were very, very special knives because those were handled and clamped into a machine and were rotated and dealt with very precisely on every single one of those. Those original military, any of the military ones that are out there floating around still are very, very special.
Cool.
Why did the trainer change colors?
Great question. So it was actually my mistake. So that when we originally did the kit and we set up the color spectrums on what the color of the knife was going to be in the trainer, I just automatically chose red because I never really thought that we were going to do an aluminum version of it. Even though on our dagger trainer, it's always been blue, and we have a live aluminum version that's red. So for some reason, it just didn't click in my head, and so I originally did it with red, and then we got approached by a special group on they needed some disposable MDVs that were of a of a specific kind of metal, which in this case was aluminum, and then we needed to then bring those forward because we can't just do 20 or 30 of them. We have to do lots of knives to do production knives. So we chose to do red at that point. At that point, I corrected the mistake. And so if you have one of the original trainers that's red, that's kind of a collector's item now. And then we do get that question, which would probably be a follow-up question, as we get this a lot in email of like, well, I've got original aluminum training knife, but we see that you sell a sharpened aluminum MDV now in red. What if I accidentally got a hold of my sharp red live blade and was using it to train with? And I'll let Mike answer that one because I'll just probably get rude.
I was actually happy that you were going to start answering it.
Yeah.
So I have faith in all of our clients that they are intelligent enough to check what they are carrying on them or what they're about to train with. It takes very, very little time for you to go, nope, that's not sharp. Okay, that's good to train with. And then it also takes very, very little time for you to pick one up the same color and go, oh, that won't save my life.
I better get the pokey one.
That one will. That's the one. We talked about that for maintenance. I don't really see there being too much of an issue with that. I mean, I guess we live in a world where bubbles wrap around our children all the time. But the thing is that it's very, very easy for you to say, take a specific color tape and wrap it around the one that is a trainer, or the one that isn't a trainer. Like whatever, however you want to do it. There's real easy ways to distinguish it. You stabbing yourself with a thing that you thought was a trainer, it's user error. That's not really.
It's this beautiful term called personal responsibility that's lacking in this world these days, of your
teach that anymore.
Personal responsibility of your own actions and your own responsibility. I mean, you wouldn't go to one of yours and Jack's courses and pull out a firearm that was dangerous and load it with the wrong ammunition.
Absolutely
and well,
not.
what if I got my 5.56 mixed up with my 7.62 and that caused a problem? Personal responsibility. So that sums it up. But you're absolutely right. We do get a lot of strange emails like that. We question and we laugh at them, of course. I mean, I'm not trying to aggravate our customers.
Yes, it's not a victim blaming. The idea is that in hindsight, if you are going to be doing this or carrying this for personal protection, then I would expect you to be training with it. If you train enough, then you should be a professional in that environment. And if you're a professional in that environment, then you are consistently checking. Like at no time should you disrespect any of the tools that you have. And that's one of the great tenets when you start dealing with professionals. The moment people do not respect their firearm, the moment they don't respect the tools that they use on a regular basis, is the moment there's going to be an accident. Okay, I'm very, very competent with my pistol, but I still act like it's loaded all the time until I am absolutely positively sure that it is not. And the thing is that the moment that I start to think, or I start doing some silly crap with my pistol, is the moment I go, crap, and you put that down, and then you just have a heart-to-heart with yourself for being a dumbass, and then what happens is then you can go back to whatever. I believe wholeheartedly that is not a mistake that happens without some sort of explanation. Like if you were to watch the tendencies of whoever did that, you'd probably find similar issues with other things in that person's, daily life.
Well, that should just be, again, falling into normal maintenance. If I'm coming to a training course with you and I've got my training MDV, I'm going to at least inspect it to make sure it's not been used in some way, or somebody didn't pick it up and try to pry some with it. Now there's a burr on it that could cut somebody. I mean, it's the same thing we do a lot of video between all of us. We've had multiple events where we're going to use live firearms, and we're double checking with everybody. And I've watched you check the pistol that's going to get pointed at me.
Yeah.
And I watched you check that pistol and confirm that it was unloaded and safe.
Oh,
and I'm still going to
absolutely.
check it myself because I trust both you guys with my life. But it's personal responsibility for me to check it again, make sure the guy didn't load it after you
Correct.
put it in.
Yeah.
Same thing with a trainer. I'm going to make sure that if you and I are training together and I'm going to take a strike on you that could potentially hurt you with a live knife, I'm going to make sure that this is safe. And if it's not, I'm going to correct it. I'm going to trade it out with one that is, or I'm going to tape it up and make it safe.
Absolutely. And there's no fault in showing that you are within those safety parameters either. I will hit, like when we do counter ambush classes, I will take my pistol out, even though no one would bat an eye if I just checked it myself and everything was fine. I will take my pistol out. I will check it. I will do my 3-point check, my visual, my physical check, looking down, making sure that there's no feeding of ammo into it. Then I will ride the slide forward and I will hand it to somebody else. And then in turn, it will be one of my students. My students will, the first time they see that, they usually go, I saw you just checking. I was like, that does not matter. You will check it. I don't care how many classes I've run. You need to do that. And so what happens is they check it and everybody sees that. And then what happens is it's like, oh, he's doing it, so we all do it, and then that sets a precedent that's there, right? And so like there's no fault in that. In fact, that's a professional's way of dealing with something that's dangerous, because it tells the students that I respect what could potentially happen if I made a mistake,
Hollywood could learn something by that.
Yeah.
It's all about being professional, though. It's being professional and knowing that you're dealing with deadly weapons and how to conduct yourself around them.
Right.
So yeah, it's if that would trickle down into all other industries that use deadly items, then there'd be less accidents.